So, entrepreneurs are risk takers, right? Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. A little bit of a joke because today we're going to talk about whether or not entrepreneurs are risk takers. So, I'm going to pause for a second and I want you to decide in your head if you think entrepreneurs in general are risk takers. What do you think? So the truth is, there are all types of entrepreneurs, and some of them take risks and some of them don't. You have some that are fly by the seat of their pants. That saying sort of means that they just wing it, they just go with it, they just do whatever. They don't really think things through, they just sort of make it happen. And there are others that are more calculated entrepreneurs and more calculated when it comes to taking risks. Now, when you're risking things, you can be risking all kinds of things. The main three that I see entrepreneurs risking is obviously money. They can invest their money into their business, but they also invest their energy and time. So you are risking losing those things. I'm risking right now the time that I'm losing making this video, but I think it's worthwhile. So as an entrepreneur, you can risk all types of things: money, energy, time, assets, friendships. Sometimes entrepreneurs take risks in being entrepreneurial and they risk friendships that they have. Maybe their friends don't get that they are an entrepreneur. Maybe they don't want to talk about business when they get together, and the entrepreneur always wants to talk about business. So you are risking all kinds of things when you decide to be entrepreneurial. The thing I want you to understand is you need to be careful with these risks and not ignore them. So one of the things I don't want you to do is think that it is okay to just, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm supposed to take risks, I'm going to go off and I'm going to take this risk and I don't really care what happens because that's what any good entrepreneur would do. That's not really the case. So I want you to be very, very smart about the risks you take. And if you do that, if you're smart about the risks that you take, it'll put you in a new category of entrepreneurship with most of the successful entrepreneurs that I know and that we all know through social media and things like that. So what am I saying? What is it that these entrepreneurs do that puts them in a new category? Beyond the skills that they have, one of the things that the most successful entrepreneurs I know or that I have studied, one of the things that makes them different is they take what's called a mitigated risk. Now, a lot of my audience is not English as their first language, and that's great. I love with connecting people all over the world. If you don't understand the word mitigate, what I'm trying to say is they are careful. They take calculated risks. When you mitigate a risk, you know that the risk exists, but you find some way to minimize that risk, or if you can't minimize it, to respond to that risk if the risk happens. So here's a great example. You know that being an entrepreneur is going to cost you 20 hours a week to get your business launched, to get it to grow, to do what you want it to do. You know that risk exists and you know that's the minimum amount. So you can't reduce it. You can't minimize that risk down to 10. You know it's going to take 20 hours. Well, what do you do to mitigate that risk? Well, you might set aside for yourself. You might decide to do this for 90 days. And then to mitigate that risk, you might decide that after that, you'll do an audit of the success you've had. And you will then mitigate or set aside more time for your personal life if things aren't going the way you want. You might know that it's going to cost you $10,000 to build that social media app that you want to do. There's no way around it. You can't minimize that risk. So how do you mitigate it? Well, you save up that $10,000 and maybe some more and set that aside before you go off and build that application or have someone build it for you. So the best entrepreneurs take risks. That's part of being an entrepreneur. One of the sayings is that an entrepreneur is someone who jumps off the side of a mountain and they build a parachute on the way down. Taking risks is part of being an entrepreneur, but taking wild, blind risks is not necessarily part of being an entrepreneur. Taking a calculated risk is part of being an entrepreneur, and doing that is what will make you more successful in the future. Anyways, until next time, I hope that information helps. I hope it helps too. I hope that helps, and I hope you find your voice. Have a great day.